Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Matt's Train Shop YouTube channel, and welcome back to another video. I welcome you all to another plethora of mixed items on the table. So today's video is going to be maybe my little bit of advice on how to get into the model railway hobby. The British media, the mainstream media, want to tell us all that the model railway hobby is dying out and it's going to be, run over by computers and train sim world and whatnot. But in reality, as a trader, I know what's going on, and I can tell you all for a fact this hobby is going up and up and up. There are so many younger people getting into this hobby, and I think we can all agree that is a wonderful thing. This hobby has got a bright and brilliant future ahead of it for years to come. So, to anybody wondering how to get started, I'm going to show you all. I want to show you what you can start with, what you can make up, what's the best scale to get going with. And without further ado, shall we crack on? So the first and most obvious thing to get started in the model railway hobby would be to get hold of a train set. All sorts of range of train sets these days. You can buy a box standard basic train set with just an oval of track, a locomotive, and a controller point and whatnot, and a siding. Or you can buy an £800 Bachmann Dynamics DCC Pullman train set with sound, which I will link just up there at some point in the video. But please watch this one before watching that one. Shall we crack this open? And just for reference, this train set is second hand. I actually bought this one off a good mate of mine at Halifax Model Railway Club, and that is a plug as well. The Halifax Model Railway Club Open Day will be happening this month, 10th of August, and your man Matt's Train Shop will be there. So let's get this train set open then. So what do we have? We have a nice little locomotive, just a bog standard little locomotive, steam engine there, and you've got, like I said, loads of wagons, stuff like that. And this one's it's a bit of a niche train set actually, but you can get a lot more bog standard train sets and stuff like that. I've taken controller out, haven't I? Yeah, I think I've taken controller out. Should be a controller. That's not a good start, is it? I know where it is though. I know where it is. Don't worry about it. That's one thing I forgot to bring up. But long story short, there is an example of a bog standard train set minus its controller. So you've got your track as well. So this is obviously a complete oval. You've got a point, and you've got power. You've got some straights as well, and you've got a power track as well. So yeah, that's what the vast majority of people would start with getting into this hobby, and that is the way I would recommend as well as a trader. Getting into this hobby, this is the easiest way and the most convenient way to get yourself started, because then you can build up from there. So we've got our train set, and this is it. We're free to do whatever we want. We're free to do what we like. You want to get more locos? You want to build a bigger track? Here you are. More locos for you. So this is just a little bit of personal advice. If you are getting started out and you're on a budget, and if you're modelling in 00 scale especially, go down the Hornby Railroad route. Very good quality models at cheap prices, and they're built to last. they're not, how do I put it? They're cheap for a reason. They haven't got all bells and whistles. I mean, these days you can get railroad locomotives now with sound chips in, twin track sound in them now. So there is a lot of variety out there, but there you are. That's just a little recommendation from me, is if you're starting out, especially in 00 scale, go for the Hornby Railroad stuff, as you can get a lot of it for your money. So, you're starting to get trains, but you might want to start getting some buildings, and getting some other bits of accessories and other bits of scenery. Well, look no further than Metcalfe. Now, you can, if I just bring it in, you can buy pre-made buildings. Of course you can. From Bachmann, from Hornby. Like for example, this is an Engage Scenecraft fire station. However, the card kits tend to be a lot cheaper than the pre-made stuff. Although it swings and roundabouts, there's more availability with the pre-made stuff, but the card kits give you something to do as well, going towards winter. So yeah, station canopy, got a pub. What have we got? We've got another station canopy with building there. It's got everything, got corner shops, footbridge, that'll be for your station again. Station platforms, there you are. So you can buy a whole station here, like I mean the whole 2 platform station for a good, it's easily a good 30-40 quid, easily. And then you've got paving sheets as well, so once you've built up your card kits for your streets, you can make them look like pavements as well. So yes, there's all sorts of variety to get started with. And I know I'm filming this in August, but as we know, we live in Britain and the weather is going to start turning. As we know, come October time, it will start getting wet and windy and everybody will be back in their attics again. So you've got your buildings. We can start being a bit more what's the word? We can start going down other avenues with other items, with other accessories. So let me bring some more in for you. And there are many different manufacturers of accessories in all sorts of different scales. But here we are, you've got some platform accessories there from Pico to put on your newly built station. You've got a bike rack there from Will's Kits, again to put outside your station. You have got some traffic lights to put on the road outside your station. Do you get where I'm coming from now? Station sign, there you are. So straight outside your station, you can put a station sign to let your people know where your station is. You can put a bus shelter, you can put 2 bus shelters, one across the road from each other, outside your station, which you've just built. Put a telephone box, you can put that on your station or outside your station. Station lamps, there you are. So people can see at night. And line side cabinets, just down the road from your station. So, there you are. All sorts of accessories, all sorts of kit buildings, and yeah, your bog standard made up buildings as well. Oh, what's this? Something else I forgot. What's this? Oh, look at that. From Pico as well. You've got speed restriction signs. Even better, look at that. So there's honestly, there is all sorts of accessories and wonderful bits for everything. You might want some vehicles. So there we are. Gauge master are quite good with the vehicles. So you've got a Land Rover there, in red, Land Rover Discovery. What have we got here? We've got an Alfa Romeo 156. It's quite a future classic, is that actually? There's not many of them about. Oh, an old Mercedes Sprinter. I'm going to mean old one. We're talking like 2003, 2004 Mercedes Sprinter there. And an old Range Rover Sport. I know a mate of mine who used to have one of them. Trust me, it did about 10 miles per gallon. I think it was a diesel one as well. Which is, yeah, he soon got rid of that, put it that way. Right. We're going to do another segment of this video, just maybe showing you what of a comparison there are in scales. I'm going to show you the big 3 scales there are to get started with, and I'll explain a little more about them. So here you are, you've got 3 main scales. There is a 4th one, which is TT120 from Hornby. However, personally, I don't feel like their range is sufficient enough and is affordable enough to be out en masse yet. So your 3 main scales in this country: N gauge, double O gauge and O gauge. Now let's start with N gauge, which is tiny, but that's a good thing because you can get so much stuff in such a small space. And this is an N gauge TTA wagon which I've got in stock, and as you see, look at that, yeah, it's that small. Look at that, it fits in my palm. I can just do that, fits in my palm. That's how small it is. I think we're talking 1 in 1/4/8 scale, but yeah, nicely well detailed. And if you think, you know, this, bear in mind this table in front of me is a 6x2 table. It absolutely dwarfs this little wagon, but if you think you can build a whole layout on this 6x2 table with N gauge. Downsides to N gauge: the prices are starting to creep closer to the double O scale prices, and maybe the availability of items isn't as great as double O scale at the moment, but hey, I think it's improving, and it's definitely improved over the years. So N gauge, yeah, very good to start out with if you've got very limited space. Now, double O gauge. This is the most popular gauge there is around. The availability of stuff is fantastic, from all sorts of manufacturers. The quality, level of detail, can't go wrong. And again, you're not using that much space for every item really, for track, for locomotives, for wagons, for coaches. So again, this is another TTA wagon. I'll just show you that there. So double O gauge is, yeah, the most popular gauge in this country. And I will just do you a little comparison side by side there, double O gauge and N gauge. So yeah, it is bigger, but it's not, you know what I mean, it's still, this Bachmann TTA still fits in my hand. And if you think, if you have a rake of 9 or 10 of them, put it down on the table like that, what, 9 or 10 of them probably just goes over that lip of the table there. So yeah, you still can get quite a lot in a small space, because that's originally what double O gauge was meant for, to get a lot of items in such a small space. Now, O gauge. These are for the people who, I think, you know, if you've got a big garage and you want to fill it up, O gauge is a good scale for it. If you want something a bit more in your face, a bit more, I'm going to say a bit more detail, but I think we're talking maybe on the same par as double O gauge when it comes to detail. If this wagon decides it wants to come out of the box, that would be greatly appreciated for the content of the YouTube channel. There's some weights there with this one. So come on, wagon. I'm going to have to slowly. There we are, very, very slowly. So yeah, you can see the size of this now. So this is an O gauge wagon, 1 in 43 scale. Yes, you can fit a bit more detail and a bit more mechanical side of the model railway hobby into O scale, because it's not as flimsy as the smaller scales. There's not a lot to try and cram in. You can space things out. So yeah, that's your O scale right there. Here is your double O scale. That's your comparison. So you can already see, look there, the size of that compared to that. Does that actually fit in? Oh, that almost, that almost fits in the wagon. I don't think these two wagons do the sizes justice, but if you were to put two locomotives next to each other, one from O gauge and one from double O gauge, I think you'd clearly see the difference. Although, if we bring the N gauge wagon in, I think, yeah, there you are. Look at that. You can put that in. There you are. Put the N gauge wagon in your O gauge wagon. Could you even put it sideways? No, not quite, but hey, look at that. You put your N gauge wagon in your O gauge wagon. So there we are. There's all three side by side there. So that concludes today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. Just maybe my little bit of advice on how to get started in the model railway hobby. Thank you all for watching. Please do get involved in the comments. Drop a like on the video, and if you're new around here, subscribe to the Matt Straight Stop YouTube channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.